So I actually want to talk about how to write your doctoral thesis, and I think this is going to be the easiest way for most people, but it's also the messiest way to do this, and it's not going to be as intuitive as you think it is in terms of what I'm going to say. So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Dave Massack. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There are so many people who help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out as much as I possibly can. Excuse me 1 second. I got this coming off of this cold over the last week. It's not COVID. I've been tested many times. I've got the vaccine, all that kind of stuff. I'm fully vaccinated. But okay, so, how do you actually write a doctoral thesis and make sure it's the easiest way that you can possibly do it? And this is what I would actually do at this moment. I probably recommend for anybody to do this. And it's something that I've learned. This is how I actually write papers at this moment and what I think about at this moment. So what I would do is the first thing that I would do is take courses that you find interesting. So just kind of peruse these sort of courses. It doesn't matter what it is and where it's going. You just kind of go into the direction that you just find inherently interesting. So the end goal with this is I want to make sure that when you're doing this, it is fun and you're having a good time. And this is something that you actually want to do for a long time. The worst thing that you can do is do something because it's efficient or you think that this is going to provide the most value for you, but this is really what you want to do is set yourself up for a career that you're just having fun and it is doing a lot for you, and you could do this for a long time. That's why it's easy. So you just take you take courses that you just find are interesting, and then you just write down notes. You just kind of peruse and write down notes as you're taking the course. That's really important to write down those notes as you're taking the course, and make sure you can just get in the habit of writing down notes, and you just write and write. That is going to be important. Whenever somebody says something interesting, you write it down. That's it. And you just keep doing that. And then what the second thing that you want to do is just kind of hang out in a place that you find interesting. Talk to people that you just find inherently interesting, that you're gravitating towards, right? You might be interested in skateboarders. Just go hang out with a bunch of skateboarders or surfboard folks and just hang out and do the thing that you want to do and hang out there and see what they're doing. You might be interested in an Aboriginal tribe in the Amazon. Just go out and hang out and talk to them and see what they're doing. Or, maybe you're interested in, I'm not sure, maybe you're interested in some new way of smelting, in some sort of way of smelting. Go hang out with people that are doing that at this moment, or hang out with artists, or hang out, just kind of do your thing and find out, just hang out, have fun, and be part of that community. And as you're part of that community, just write things down. Just keep writing those things down. And as you read papers and as you're sort of perusing and reading papers in these particular areas, and you kind of want to do that at the same time, you're just reading and perusing and just write down the ideas of that you're reading, and write it down in a Word document, or write it down. I use Google Docs now. I've switched to that. It's just a lot better tool. It works a heck of a lot better. So I just write down in a Google Doc just different notes, and as I'm doing that, I just kind of write it down and peruse it. I might get sort of a spark of, oh, I should do this, and then I just kind of write and peruse and write down notes of what it is, and try to interpret what they've said and think about what I'm kind of doing, right? You're always thinking about, so once you write down what they said, but also thinking about where is it going? What are you doing? What are you kind of leveraging here? What's the interesting thing that you're like, I should have thought about that, and I'm going to write that particular thing down. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to have this big Word document or big, Google Doc that is going to be a total mess. It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be really long. It's going to be messy. There's going to be notes all over the place. But what you want to do is go through and see if you could see patterns and think about the different patterns that you're seeing. And then as you're doing that, you think about the research question and why you're actually interested in this thing, right? You kind of know and so this belief that we have this research question up front and we should sort of peruse this thing, I think is a load of hocus pocus. Nobody knows what they're interested in. You know what it is after you sort of inductively went into it and you kind of see that there is something that's there. And as you go into it, you kind of peruse and you have this research question and it sort of pops in your mind like, oh yeah, okay, that's what it is. And then you kind of peruse in that direction. And then you come back and as you peruse, you're like, it's not quite right. It's not quite the right thing that I should be doing. And then you go back and you iterate and you keep doing that. As you make sense of what's going on, you kind of iterate and fill in the gaps with your writing and you fill in the sort of thing that you're looking at until it kind of naturally gravitates towards something that you're curious about and you're interested in. And now I know that this is kind of messy and it's not easy to do this. And you're going to need feedback along the way. That's actually why I created the reciprocity website. But, what you're really going to need is that sort of iterative feedback as you're doing this. And as well as sort of you're doing iterative feedback with your own self. So you imagine that there's kind of like two stages or multiple stages where you're getting feedback, where you are talking to yourself, right? That's what you're doing with writing this sort of stuff down. And then you talk to, maybe it's somebody that's close to you where you're writing for them and trying to make sense for them. And then they might give you some sort of feedback. And then after you sort of write to the broader audience where you're trying to give feedback to them. And it's going to be a mess, but you're going to get there. And it's going to be really fun and interesting. And what you're doing is sort of perusing what you just find inherently interesting, what's going on in this world, rather than sort of finding something that is like, that is not interesting to you, but you think is like super important and all that. That's hocus pocus. What you want to do is just kind of peruse what you like. And as you peruse what you like and you find the thing that you like, whatever that thing is, maybe you're the weird person that really likes some sort of performance thing in business, and that's your inherent thing that you love, or I don't know. It's rare. It's going to be hard to find somebody that is like super passionate about that, but if that's what your thing is, then that's great. But, if you're super passionate about chocolate bars and you love those chocolate bars, study chocolate bars. That's going to be very good for you. And you're going to love the fact that you study chocolate bars. Trust me, it's going to be amazing if you actually do that. So that's all I wanted to say. And as you're doing it, just have fun and peruse and explore and think of this as just your Dora the Explorer. You're going through the woods and you're finding new and interesting things, and you just keep pushing forward with that. So hopefully this helps you out. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.